welcome everyone listening in to this week's episode. We have a really exciting special guest this week. So who are you and what do you do?
Hi guys, my name is Quinn. I just eloped 2 weeks ago, so with a new last name is Miss Huntsinger. So Quinn Huntsinger.
Congratulations. You're
Thank
always
you.
shaking shit up.
I just dropped this new in front of her right now.
Yeah, to the world.
To the world. Yes. I am the owner of Self-Care Spa and Lounge. I opened that location on March 1st of this year.
Okay.
And I'm specialized in Korean hair spa and Korean skincare.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is really exciting because Spokane doesn't have any of that.
Yes.
So you're kind of like creating this whole new pathway.
Yes.
So how has that been for you? What led you there?
So I knew a couple of people were doing like a one-on-one professional service with Korean skincare. Okay. Should I repeat that?
Go for it.
Okay. I knew a couple of people already like licensed esthetician who start Korean skincare, very small setting one-on-one services, but nobody have done the Korean scalp treatment or nobody really talk a lot about Korean skincare. The professional to non-professional line, if you think about it, is drugstore line or medical grade lines. So I was just like, you know what? I see that as a niche. I see that as a need for local Spokane. We need to be more diverse. So I just did it. I really didn't expect much. I'm just like, I'm gonna do it. Instead of trying to analyze everything, it's the first time I said, just do it.
And it's like going well.
Yeah, it's going really well.
Yeah.
It was really slow at first. My first 3 months was DEAD. And I was so scared.
Yeah.
I quit my full-time job and I'm like, hold on to the table. I'm like, I'm going to go get a coffee job or something.
Yeah.
But no, June 1st, it started picking up and I couldn't be more thankful.
Yeah. So thank you, Spokane. Thank you for everyone who's supporting.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm super thankful. And you supported me and that's how we all started
Yes.
this friendship. So
Yes.
thank you.
Yes. That's how I met you.
Yes.
Because it was like no one is doing this. And you can find it in bigger cities like LA, Seattle. But I mean, it felt like, oh, someone's being progressive and actually like bringing us into the 21st century. Like, thank you. A big thank you.
You're welcome.
So, yes. And then I met you and it was like instant connection, like
Yes.
just your presence, your vibe, your energy,
Thank you.
how you show up so authentically. It's literally
Too
something to
authentically
strive for.
sometimes.
Not a thing. Not a thing.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
love it. So
Thank you.
selfishly, I kind of brought you on here to repeat your story because your story is phenomenal. Who you are as a human, you're phenomenal.
Thank you.
And then seeing where you are today, like just you should feel so proud of yourself because you are building from the ground up, truly.
Yes.
And you're forging a path that doesn't exist here in Spokane or, you know, like you said, even in your industry,
Yes.
having that middle ground of we're not medical, but we're also not drugstore, but we're the in-between where women and even women of color can really feel empowered to take care of themselves
Yes.
in this way, which
Yes.
is incredible.
Yes, I always tell my my clients, that nobody started a business without wanting to make money. And I am not the cheapest, but I'm going to be fair. I will make it accessible to everyone, every household, every budget. And it should not be always a big splurge. It should be something that they invest to take care of themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's this feeling of like being able to access something that feels good.
Yes.
Which when you don't have a really big budget, right? Like, not to get off on a tangent, but self-care, we often think like, I can't afford that. I
Yes.
can't access that.
Yes.
And you're making self-care in this way very affordable.
Yes. No, because if you think about it, when I about to start this journey, quit my 6-figure job to do this, my friends and family look at me like, have you not seen what happened during COVID? Is they going to drop beauty first? Everything else is essential. Like, you are crazy. And it's election year. You are crazy. You shouldn't do this. Like, I got a lot of no and don't do it. But I did it and it's been very successful. And I'm super thankful that I didn't listen to those noises. Yeah.
Which speaks to your resilience and your strength.
That's my middle name. Just kidding.
how, like, do you see yourself as resilient? Or does it feel like sometimes that fear gets to you?
I think it's all start at trying to survive. I felt like I transitioned from surviving mode to thriving mode. So I would say that resilient is in between to motivate myself to not giving up and keep going. But that was initiate out of fake it till I make it. But now I'm at the phase of face it till I make it. So definitely resilient is in the middle part of it, but it was not started that way. Yes.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit of your background, like as you think about that, like fake it to make it, all of those no's, all of those barriers, like.
So I came to America when I was 17, and I'm not Korean, I'm Vietnamese. $5 get you crystal gel and boyfriends. That used to be my joke to everyone because they think I'm Korean, but I'm not. I'm Vietnamese. I did nails in the past to survive.
Okay.
I came as international student, but it was a modern way of being mail bride order. If you think about it that way, is my ticket was one way. I gotta get married to someone U.S. citizen to live here. And when I share that side of the story, I never want people to feel bad for me. If for us, it's very normal to get out of poverty. Yeah, like that's just normal for a lot of us.
Just what it is.
It is what it is. And honestly, we were sleeping on the floor or on flat wood or like a piece of bamboo sheet. I didn't know mattress until I got to America. So, I mean, I told people the story for them to understand my perspective of how I take things not for granted. But I never seek for that, like, oh, feel bad for me because I'm a mail bride order or because I came here to get married to someone.
And it's just your reality.
Yes.
Like it's your normal.
Yes.
So what is there to feel bad for? Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of time I held back to share that side of story because I feel like people think I'm seeking for that empathy. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. No, don't be sorry. I love it. I mean, it gave me a better life here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the American dream that a lot of people wanted.
Yeah. Opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I came with no degree, with no English. I did ESL for 1 year, like English second language as SEC. And I married to a U.S. citizen. And I work, you could think of 3 to 5 jobs at once. I waitress, I clean people's house, I cut grass, I roll my sleeve up, and I work very hard. I couldn't even get a job here in Spokane, Washington. I got a job at Panda Express in Idaho. That was my first official job. So, and that's how I started from the bottom and climbed corporation, got up there. 6 months later, I become general manager. I came back to Spokane. I become training leaders, and I just keep moving up with Panda Express. Then I noticed that I don't have the privilege of college degree. So in order for me to get out of Panda Express and get to the next best corporation, it's going to be tough. But how do I position myself? I do not have that time in financial to go back to school. So I figured out something that if I pick a good brand name corporate, work in there as management level, and keep moving every 3 to 5 years. Because corporation, you get 2 to 3% raise per year. But every time I jump, I negotiate myself to 15% to 20% raise. But then I built a consistent resume. So when you look at my work history, you're like, oh, she in all the big brand name corporation. She consistent 35 years there. She do a really good job there. Her role is fancy on paper, right? That's how I use that technique. I figure it out.
Yeah.
So I jumped from that Panda Express, Starbucks, Costco, and then NG. And now I gather all that knowledge, the do, the don't, the good, the bad, the ugly, and then I open my own business.
Yeah, you're like using the system for your benefit rather than being in the system and having them use you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Because I figure it out. Fuck out. Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
And I told people all the time, if you have to put your dream on the side. Don't forget about it. Fund it slowly. And if you have to work in corporate, like learn the bad, the good, and the ugly. It's not all, everything's a lesson. I learned what not to do. I learned what to do as a leader in my own role right now. So.
Well, and that's, you know, I mean, just even in that, you're really using so much strength, like, and you're finding your own strength.
Yes.
Which is awesome. But I think your story is so familiar to so many immigrants.
Yes.
Right. And so, like, I just really want to highlight that, especially in the political climate that we're in, of like, this is the typical immigrant story of having to start from the bottom.
Yes.
Have so many fucking barriers.
Yes.
And you move your way up, and you can be as successful as you want to be. And that's based on mindset, not what you're given.
Yes.
Because you weren't given all of these opportunities. You had to, like, figure out the system, and you had to make it work to your benefit, and you had to, like, come back again and again and again. And I'm sure that there were days where you were like, fuck all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. There were days that I went really deep down to this dark hole. Like, why do I doing this? And at one point I thought I was cursed. And that's including in relationship. With, you know, I was divorced after 9 years of marriage. I divorced for 3 years, and I felt like that was quarter life crisis. I remember I sat in front of the courthouse in Spokane here after my divorce, and like 26 years old, all over, just full of debts. Like, if I die, nobody cares. Like, if I die, nobody has to pay my debts. Maybe that's the easiest way. Like, I canceled my life insurance and everything because I was like, what's the point? I was at that phase. I was like, let's crack up the credit card debt, and when I die, nobody cares.
Yeah.
That was just the mindset at 26.
Which is so young. Like, so young.
Girl, an Asian expectation, 26, you divorce and you have to start over? That's bad.
You're like, that's the worst. I'm like, too old.
We get food when we get A+ at school, okay? You come home with a C, don't come home.
The expectation is so high, like the pressure.
Yes. And I think I learned from that too is I am the worst critic to myself. And sometimes I said, because this Asian standard, or my expectation for my family, no, that's just the voice in my head. And I had to fight that a lot.
How did you separate from that? Because that's like inside your head. Like, I feel that, you know?
Yeah.
It's like brown culture. It's like there are really high expectations, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you?
There's a slang in Vietnamese. When you look up too much, you need to learn to look down. It's when you look up, you see all this expectation, you see all these people doing better than you, and it forces you to be in that race, that rat race. Like, I need to be there, I need to be there, I need to set in a certain degree, I need to marry at this age, having this house, yada, yada. But when you look down, time to be humble. You actually have a lot better than a lot of people. You telling you all this thing in your head, but if you look down, you see there's people that want to be where you at. And remember where there were the times that I pray for the things that I have right now. And I have to remember that. And I think at that moment is where I realized that was just a voice in my head. I need to separate what's my ambition and what is noise. Yes. If this is the goal for me to set, I need to have an action plan how to get there. And I use that corporate technique, SMART goal. See?
Yeah.
For myself to remember to be structured with my ambitious goal, but don't let that become a noise and say, okay, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
Because that's deep down, that dark voice always said, you're not good enough. Yes. So I won't let it happen to me a lot of time by remember what I pray for.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're 26, you're sitting in this courthouse. You're like, my life is over.
Yes.
Like, how connect? How did you move through to the next part?
I probably move 7 to 8 times within that year. Houses. I moved to Minnesota.
So you were like in flight. You were like, get me out of here.
Yes.
I don't want to be in it.
Yes, I didn't want to be in Spokane. I I was like, let's start over. I went to Minnesota to start a new life with my best friend. He lived there his whole life since they moved from Vietnam to America, and they're very successful, and he was going to help me kind of get back up. I still felt so empty, lost. I was not myself, and I couldn't figure it out who I was anymore. And I gained a bunch of weight. Like, it was the worst time ever. And I look at the scale that time, and it was 319 pounds, and I said, what is going on with you, Quinn? This is not you. And I have a necklace made 319. That was my mark for me to say, nope, I'm not going to let this happen. And I moved back to Spokane, more debts, because when you move, it costs a lot of money back and forth.
Yeah.
And I was in my aunt's basement in Spokane Valley here, like just hiding under the basement for months. It was the moment that I want to just kill myself. Yes, because I felt like there's nothing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That hopelessness.
I didn't know what happened. That morning I woke up and I went to Costco and I applied to just packing grocery. No more leadership role, no more management. I just want to keep a decent job, just to keep my body moving, to lose weight, to have my brain working normal again. Or it was a way of avoiding, I don't know. But I woke up that morning, went to the office, asked the manager, are you hiring? And I got the job. And I remember pushing cart in the snow, pushing cart, in the sun, packing grocery. And I remember the manager who hired me at Costco, he retired now. And we have amazing relationship now. I still talk to him. He was like, what are you doing here? Your resume. And I said, I need a break. And he's like, I got you.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that feeling.
And he was like a dad figure for me.
Yeah.
I love him. If anyone work at Costco in the Valley, you know Ron Tweedy. He's the best. He's the best. Yes. He's like dad to a lot of us. He's the best. Like, everybody loves him there. Yep.
Just kind. He sees people for who they are.
Yeah, he didn't ask much question. He's like, why are you here? And I said, I need a break. That's all he took. And he's like, okay, you got the job.
Nice.
Yes. And eventually I became supervisor at Costco.
You can only stay out of it for so long.
Yes. I mean, I feel like when I finally get back on my feet mentally and physically, I said, okay, let's do this. Let's get back to it. But I never stopped doing lash extension, doing all this skincare work with my license. I always hustle on the side, Saturday and Sunday, or when I have time. I didn't know why, but I was never giving up that dream. Because my dream about making others feel extra beautiful is to my core. I grew up in Vietnam, and I'm 5'11". Like, I am not tiny, petite Asian girl. And my nickname when I was little in my country was Gorilla.
Oh my God.
Or Big Bear.
People are so cruel.
Kids, we were kids.
Fucking kids.
And so I didn't have like girly clothes like most of my friends that same age. I wore secondhand boys' clothes, a big one, baggy, and I didn't have cute shoes. Like, I love sparkle shoes, but I didn't have them. And I remember my aunt brought me here to Ross Dress for Less in America, and I got my dress for the first time, and I got cute shoes for the first time that fit my big feet. And I was like, oh my gosh, they have my size. And that was the first time I looked in the mirror and I love the girl I was. I was like, this is so beautiful. I'm a girl.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have a vision of making people feel that feeling that I felt at that moment. Like, I'm beautiful. I'm so pretty. So I couldn't give up that dream. I just want people to feel extra beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, when clients leave the building, they said, oh, thank you for making me feel beautiful. And I say, remember the words extra, because you already beautiful. I'm just making you extra beautiful.
Yes.
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 Yeah. So during that Costco journey, I was still hustling on the side. And I just realized at that moment, this is where I'm going to be. It's my the beauty industry. That's where I'm going to be. And I'm going to create my own bubble and be different and be who I am in there. Yeah.
Well, and there's such a connection between, like, this is a purpose and it's your purpose and it's tied to your journey. So it's beyond just beauty industry. Like,
Yes.
it almost doesn't do it justice. Like,
Yes.
especially as we hear your story.
Yes. Thank you. I think I never realized it until you call it out.
Yeah.
We were just talking.
Like,
We were just talking.
Yeah.
Or like when even simple thing, I decorate my ceiling at the salon, and I just thought of it as a task. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. But then when people come in and call it out, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. I'm like, oh yeah, it's actually beautiful.
Literally, her studio, for those of you listening, if you haven't been in, her ceiling is covered in like plant foliage, and so it gives this like really cool outdoor feeling as you're laying on a table and looking up. So it just, that connection of nature and warmth. And
Yeah, the joke I always tell my friends is, I'm a jungle Asian girl. Welcome to my jungle.
yes, and it's a part of you that you're bringing into your space.
Yes, I love plants. I love that jungle oasis. I love people to feel like they're not in a normal setup where they can just check out. Yeah.
No, I mean, your personality, even like your glow up keyboard, like it's like pink and orange and like neon, and like just so much of your personality is in your space.
Yeah.
And it's so inviting, because I think for me it was like, oh, I can like be in this space and like take a big deep breath. I don't have to be a certain way.
Yeah.
Where I feel like oftentimes, and I've been in a lot of other like beauty industry standard spaces, whether it's massage or esthetician or whatever, and it can be right, like your calm, cool aesthetic, and so then you have to kind of like be that calm, cool.
Yes.
And if you're not that,
Yeah.
if you're a little bit louder, a little bit spicier, or sassy, like it's hard to show up there.
Yeah.
Your space, you walk in and you're like, fuck yeah, like let's talk about anything and everything, and like I like that, like this is cool, and
Yes.
yeah.
I love that because I tell everyone all the time, my space is represent my inner little girl dream. That was my little girl dream. I want pink. I want plants. I want cute things. I want every little corners, is every little details of what I love as a little girl that I didn't have. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you see that shining through with your product? And how, like, you being Vietnamese, how did you get into K-beauty? Like,
It's all start at personal problems. I have very sensitive skin. I grew up in my country where K-beauty, K-pop is the supreme. Like every little girl dream is, I want to be a K-pop star. I want to meet my idols. I want to use K products. Like that was like imprint in us, in a lot of Asian little girls, no matter what, like Vietnamese, Thai, Filipinos, because K-pop is really popular.
which is also like a wild construct of like aspiring to be something that's not even in your culture.
Yeah.
Right. I think for me in brown culture, it's like the comparison of like having to be like a more in white culture, like coding and masking and right, like all the things.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what the feeling is? Like
kind of is when it comes to, you know, like how a lot of Asian folks like to have white skin. And we bleach our skin in skincare. And K-beauty has a lot brightening products. So there's a standard there that we look up to. We're looking up to the Western, like how to look white, how to look, you know, more brightening tones of skin, things like that. And K-beauty is very popular for that, you know, specialty. So kind of, I think like it's kind of how we look up to things that way.
yeah.
But it's just like how to look at it. What's popular in America? I don't even know. like what kids want to be when what do they look up to?
Well, it's like, I mean, right? The classic example is like when I was growing up, Barbie, right?
Yeah.
Like you play with Barbies or you play with dolls and none of them are brown or black. Or even Asian, like, and so it's like you have to be tall and skinny and
Yes.
big boobs and tiny waist.
Yeah.
And now we have like the Kardashians. Thanks so much for that body complex. Jesus Christ. Right. So that's kind of like the kind of the comparison of like, you know, if you have curly hair, you want straight hair.
Yes.
And like,
Yes.
I would always get compliments when I was little of like, oh, you're so dark, you're so tan, like, and I still get that at times where people will, like, other adults will be like, oh my God, you're so tan.
But that's American beauty standard.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
They like dark and tan because it looks more
Yes.
toned in shape and healthy. And it's also that standard of a tan Barbie, I guess. I love the sun, but I still wear sunscreen and I still cover myself during the summer.
That's a good practice. Skin cancer.
Yeah, skin cancer. No skin cancer.
Have skin cancer by the time I'm 40.
But I never put myself in a position where I want to be tan. Yeah, it's kind of weird that way. And maybe the imprint in our culture that you need to be white looking, things like that. K-pop was like that. It's one of the hit bucket list. You gotta. It's kind of popular thing that just like Taylor Swift, she has the army who loves her. K-beauty, K-pop has that, and I was just one of the fangirl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's how I so invest into their products, their culture, everything. But when I got to America, none of that's here.
No, I mean not really. No, I feel
It's
like
finally exposed more through TikTok and social media now.
Yeah.
But it was not ever before.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I had to fly down to California and to find an H Mart to find like the most random beauty skincare from Korea. It's not even exist.
It's not.
And if you buy a website, it's a scam. It's a scam was fake. You never get the products, or you get products that probably made in China.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So it was never a thing here. So it was more like a secret things I do behind the scene. I buy my own Korean skincare. I found the resources. I would go to stores. I would go find a place. I would find a legit online store. It was never my intention to even make it a career. Yes. But I have personal sensitive to my skin. So a lot of ingredients in American products will not work for me. And I never went down that rabbit hole either. Like ingredients, why is it bad? But then there's an uptick of that conversation happen a lot now in America. And I think it was a perfect timing for me to dig deeper into ingredients and compare. Yeah. And when I compare, definitely Korean beauty has better ingredients, better technology, how they combine each ingredients without the need of using something that actually should not be good for you. You know, things like that.
Yeah.
And my scalp, I have dermatitis. And dermatologists in America would put me on Kerasol shampoo and steroid. And steroid is not good for you, no matter what. It does help me with the itchiness, but I also notice hair loss. Yes. And that's when I was like, nope, I'm going to go back to approach the holistic way. Like herbs, rosemary, castor oil. Because castor oil is in every lash serum, and I work in lash industry. I know that. Yeah, brow serum. And how I combine that. And when I work for my 9 to 5, I utilize a lot of my time international to work with different people, international. And that's how I kind of get all the service done personally for myself. Found a contact, found the right person to talk through this. And honestly, it's like the work of almost 3 years just come together.
Wow.
I was like, oh yeah, I remember I talked to Jen. I remember I talked to Jessica Cha. Like, I remember I talked to Kim at Style Korean Wholesale. Like, everything connect. And I'm like, sit down, and I'm like, why don't I create this? There's none of it here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's literally, remember when people said everything happened for a reason? There's bit and pieces. There's people that I met, different face, all come together. Like I reach out to all of them at once, and I create this brand, and I create this service. I create this whole vision that I'm doing now.
Wow.
So is everything happening for a reason?
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
It really does.
It's really weird. Like, if you try to pinpoint when and how, I can't tell you. Because it's happened at different time and different people, different country.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Which is like, right, when we think about growth, we think like A to B. And it's not that. It's like A to B to C to D to E to... Like, it's a journey, and there's steps forward and steps backwards, and we might take different paths or meet different guides or helpers, supporters. It takes community. And but the constant reassurance of, like, I can continue moving forward, even in those moments where it doesn't feel super linear and connected and aligned.
Yeah. A lot of time I face a lot of setback, or I met a lot of wrong people who might have a great intention to help, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when I had those setback, it's very discouraged. Yes. And I usually have a meeting with myself and blame myself and just yelling at myself, why did I don't have my guard up? But then I remember a lot of good people also out there who I have remembered to count them as my blessing. They didn't give up on me when they met the wrong people previously. So I would not let one experience to ruin the next person experience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson. Like, I will always say, okay, this person or that product line doesn't align with my values. I'm just going to move away from it. And what's next?
Yeah.
You do you, boo. Like, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like so, and I know it's a struggle as far as like the inner critic and like trusting self and that back and forth, but it really is a sign of optimism when you can really step back and look at it objectively eventually and then continue moving forward. It's like that betting on yourself of like, okay, so I made a choice, like that can be neutral and I can make a different choice, like really working from that place of empowerment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of my choice, my husband said, I'm very risky. I don't look at it as being risky. I looking it at, if I'm going to say no to that opportunity, there's a guarantee. None of that will ever happen. But if I say yes, something might happen that I do not know. That could be a great potential. That could be a great win. And if I'm just sitting there and spending time and analyzing what if it's go wrong, I'm losing out the whole opportunity. So I usually just jump right in, do it. If it doesn't work, I pivot.
Yeah.
I pivot. And I think that's one of the hardest lessons I have to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Like, I'd rather say yes and fail than not try at all. Because the ability to pivot is a gift.
Yeah.
I have that similar where I'll like pitch something and, oh, that is not at all what I planned, or that didn't work well.
Yes.
Like, guess I'm doing this instead.
Yes.
Right. And like at times people can be like, you're crazy, you're chaotic. And it's like, yeah. And like, I have to continue like pushing to grow because I know where I want to be in my life and no one else is going to fucking get me there.
Nope.
Like, I have
It's
to
you.
get me there.
It's
like,
just you.
Yeah. In those dark moments, who's there? Me.
Yes.
Like, I have to face me.
Yes.
So I also have to be able to trust that I'm going to make a good choice for myself. And that means
I
pivoting.
do. I do weigh out, the potential of risk as long as it doesn't harm me. Like physically, mentally, financially, it doesn't harm people around me, then why should I hesitate? Right? So I do weigh out those like life and death,
As one should.
risk. Yes, everyone should. Please.
Should. Like, please do that.
But for, just like come to your podcast today. I say yes. I'm like, why not? When you ask me on the bed, I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
My favorite way to ask is, why not?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's my husband is always a wonderful supporter, and oftentimes when I get into those negative space, like, he'll remind me, like, let's just be like a yes person. Like, let's say yes before we say no. And because I know, like, at times I can be like, no, I'm too tired. No, I'm too exhausted. No, I'm too anxious. No, I'm too stressed. Like, it's easy to get into that. So sometimes he's like, no, we're going to say yes. And then it's a easier shift into like, oh, yes, all these different opportunities.
I love that for you. You have a good support system. Yes. Yeah.
I do. Yeah. It's taken us a long time to get there, but I do.
Yeah, that's how a relationship is. It's a work progress.
Yes.
Don't expect amazingness happen the first round.
No, you have to constantly work at it. It's like, for people to have this idea of like, I'm going to be in relationship and it's just going to be easy and it has to be perfect. It's like, and you have to work hard to maintain that. It takes intentional work of connecting and listening and communicating and, you know.
You gotta work hard for the happiness.
Yeah. You do. A girl's gotta work hard.
That's our inside joke.
There's a double entendre in there. I'm curious about, okay, so you're in this world of Korean beauty, and I'm also wondering, like, culturally, like, what does hair mean for you in the Vietnamese culture, and do you ever want to bring in more of the Vietnamese culture around hair? I don't know.
Yes.
I'm asking this with absolutely like no knowledge.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah.
No, I love that people ask questions because that's the opportunity for me to, speak about my passion. So what I do is more skin, so scalp treatment. I don't style hair. I don't do anything with hair. Reason being is Western market is pretty strong when it comes to great products for hair. And hairs are fiber, not, scalp is skin, right?
So even the question I just asked is like very naive.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
good.
yes. No, but
it's good for me to know.
But you were groomed that way.
Yes.
You were taught that way.
Yeah.
It's like we take care of our hair.
Yeah.
But where's do hair come from?
From scalp.
It's from the scalp.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I am more focused on the scalp, and my work is more focused on the scalp. Is we are so quick we live in the world of instant gratification, right? We fix what outside, what glamour is, the beauty, the cosmetic side of it. But the problem is the root cause, right? And oftentimes people don't look at root cause because it's so complicated. It takes so much time and consuming, yada, yada.
This is why people don't like to come to therapy and do deep trauma work, is because it takes time. We'd rather look at the hair than the scalp if we
That's why girls break up and go get a haircut instead of go therapy.
New me, new man. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that's how just our reality is.
Yeah.
Right? So that's my work. I do focus more on holistic approach, herbals, all the ingredients that you can find in your home that to care for your scalp, and your scalp is the root cause. And a lot of time when people lay on that bed, I tell them to have a healthy scalp, many factors, your diet, your stress management. Like, you got to go see a therapist, then you got to go see a therapist. You got to work those drama. You got to work the drama. You got to manage your stress. You got to learn how to, I tell people, you cannot ever not stress, but you got to learn how to manage your stress, your lifestyle. All those affect your healthy scalp because skin is the biggest organ on our body and everything is connected. So if you lay on that bed and you're expecting miracle the first visit, no. This is one of the first step. And I will point out what I can do to help, but there's our other factors that you need to do it your day to day, right? And right now I focus a lot of Koreans ingredients, and Koreans are really good at elevate the experience. Like the way we take care of our scalp, I got that done when I was little by my mom and dad. It was not the great spa setting, but they do it for us when we were little. Like, we knew how to take care of our scalp. But Koreans know how to elevate the experience. So the whole self-care experience. for people to feel like, okay, it's worth it for me to do so, right? So I think it's just like a cherry on top to attract people who live in instant gratification. Like, okay, go get this cool thing. It's amazing. It's relaxing and luxury. Korean's good at that. They also good ingredients when it comes to rosemary. They combined the peppermint, they combined the grapefruit, and combined, the collagens, the vitamins together into these products. I did look into the history of Vietnamese, because that's where I'm from, right?
Yeah.
I look at what herb they use, what herbal do they use, and I secretly I want to launch it, and I usually keep that quiet movement until I launching the products. But my vision is I'm going to do a package of Vietnamese scalp treatment next with signature herbs, signature product lines from Vietnam. That is the work in progress. That you kind of get a.
Nice.
That's why when you ask that question, I smile because I'm like, dang it, she asked.
What's your next
Should
move?
A lot of my next moves, I like to move in silence.
Yes.
And my favorite way is say checkmate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think even like, I mean, certainly different regions offer different natural elements and ingredients.
Thai have their own signature herbs. I'm sure Philippines, they have their own. Every country has different signature herbs that they use in their culture back in the day. And that's my goal, is I'm going to keep growing and look in that path of, my next one is Vietnamese because that's where I'm from. And then the next one is Thai. The next one is Indonesian. Like, that's a chance for me to go to Bali. Why not?
Yeah.
Things like that. So Yes. Yes, I dream big, girl. Big.
I love it. And I need a t-shirt that says like, work through the trauma and the drama.
Yes. Yes.
I need that immediately.
Please
copyright this. Someone copyright that. It's so good.
It is very lonely though.
Oh yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't want to face that because it's lonely. And it's hard. And it's, yes, therapists will understand, but when you're alone at home to face and unpack these drama, it's lonely.
Yeah. I mean, even in my industry, it can be very lonely. Like, especially when you're trying to do different and you're trying to undo the trauma that was done to you. And people aren't always going to understand, and they're not always going to want to be accountable for their own part in the harm that's still happening.
No.
Especially in the wellness industry, which is kind of why I started this podcast, is like shifting the power differential that we often are perceived to hold in the wellness and health industry. Because for me, I don't believe that wellness and healing and wholeness is just mental. I think it's emotional. I think it's physical, spiritual, sexual. Like, we have to look at a whole being, not just be in one sector of, well, mental health therapy is like the one and done. Therapy is the only answer. Like, no, like, your space is also extremely healing and extremely therapeutic. Yeah. Like,
and I'm in beauty.
And you're in beauty. Like, and that might be someone's form of therapy or having support. Yeah. Rather than opening up to me and on a couch, you know? Yeah. And I think that's what's missing, is the connection between all of these industries. Yes. Because we need to recognize, like, healing doesn't just look one way.
Yes.
So.
And I just want to remind you that stay true to your vision, because of that vision, I'm sitting next to you right now talking about it, because you attract when you do it alone. This, how I'm trying to say is, when you do it alone, it does feel lonely, but I attract my crowd. I attract my audience. I attract my clients. I attract my vendors who has actually aligned to my vision and values, right? So just like you do what you do now, even this podcast, and look at now, we talk about this and I'm in a completely different industry and we connect because we do healing in a different form. So whatever you do, keep doing it, girl.
Thank you.
You do it so good.
Thank you.
Just a reminder, because sometimes
trying.
when we're in it, we don't know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't see the train moving.
Yeah.
We just move.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And that's, yeah. And I think it's easy to like get back into that like hustle because like for me, I've always had to grind, like, and I hear that in your story too. Like, you've always had to like keep moving in, even in those moments of darkness, you still had to come up with like a next move, and like that's fucking exhausting. So when we do find community, when we do find that connection, being able to be like, oh, this person wants to be next to me, can hold it, has the capacity to have these deeper conversations. Like, that's also an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when we start talking, I told you how I told my husband I felt for the first time I'm not in surviving mode anymore and I'm actually thriving. That was my internal battle about hustler meaning. Because, like you said, it's exhausting. But why am I this way? Because I had to unpack a lot of trauma. Why am I this way? Why I'm always just go, go, go? Why do I have to get the next best thing? And I have to separate it, that I'm not in surviving mode anymore.
Yeah.
I had to separate it. I'm hustling now because I'm creative. I am ambitious to see where I take this beauty vision I have in Spokane, right? Like, I have to remind myself I'm not hustling to survive. I'm hustling because I'm going towards my goal.
I like that.
Because at first I got asked a lot too, or I'm even having that internal battle. It's like, why I'm keep hustling? Why I'm just keep doing this? It's exhausting. And if I don't enjoy it, why am I doing it? Right? Yes. So I think a lot of conversation I have with myself is, okay, you got to remember why you are doing this.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I love that. So, to everyone listening, why are you doing what you're doing? What is your goal? What is that hustle space? What is that community looking like for you? How are you seeking connection? So, and you heard it here first from this incredible human being.
Thank you. You are too.
Thank you. I want to very quickly have you tell everyone about your, can I say it, on the 29th?
Yes.
Your launch party. I'm like, what can I say? What can I not say?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay. Yes. So tell us about your launch party. Where can people buy tickets? Where can people find you? Where can people sign up for services?
Okay. Thank you for the shout out. Oh my gosh. So September 29th is my birthday. Okay. Libra gang. Yes. But with Libra, so we workaholic. So 9/28 is a Saturday. I'm throwing this birthday party in a workaholic style. That's how I call it. I'm going to launch the first K-beauty retail store in Spokane inside my spa and lounge. It's a free event. There will be boba tea from Black Straw. There will be food, cupcake, treats, permanent jewelries. A lot of local business I'm not going to name yet because we want it to be a surprise. So if you want to find out, show up. Just show up. And there's a lot of prize giveaway. I'm very generous when it comes to what I can give back to my clients for supporting me. So that's raffle going to happen every 30 minutes.
Nice.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes.
You better pull up.
Showed up. Is if you go on my Instagram, Self-Care Spa and Lounge, on my bio, there's an Eventbrite ticket link, and you can just RSVP. It will help me to estimate how much food I should get. I already ordered 6 gallons of boba tea, so I'm like hoping that's enough. Yes. My first party that I did back in March was way more than I expected. So I learned to RSVP this time.
Growth.
See, when you do it, you make mistake and you learn from it.
Yes.
So yes, it's a free event. Showed up. Yes. We can talk about skincare. I will not pressure you to buy anything. Just have fun. Yes. This is my birthday. I'm turning 34.
34 is the year.
Yes, it is the year. Yep.
Awesome.
Glow up. Glow the fuck up.
So self-care lounge.
Self-care spa and lounge.
Self-care spa and lounge.
Yes.
Instagram.
Yes. So self-care _ spa and lounge.
Love it.
Yes.
Okay. Find her, book an appointment, support
Thank you.
those who are working very hard in community, and not only for themselves, but for community and healing and growth. And thank you for being here.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you.
Of course.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
all right, everyone, have a good week, and we'll see you next week.